I'm not getting out of this car for anything less than $50,000. Jessica sat stone-faced in the back of the white Rolls-Royce, tossing the $1,000 cash I'd given her as a getting out of the car gift onto the floor mat. Jess, we're going to be late for the ceremony. Don't do this. Don't embarrass Alex. Her sister and maid of honor, Lauren, pleaded from the seat beside her. I was standing outside, the driver holding the door open, a fixed smile on my face for the neighbors who were starting to gather. Tiffany got a Cartier bracelet when she married Mark. A $50,000 check is the least I deserve. Why should I get less than her? Jessica crossed her arms, refusing to budge. This was my wedding day. Part 1. You can't come in without paying the toll. A group of bridesmaids, led by Jessica's best friend, Tiffany, blocked the front door to the Miller's house. Tiffany was the loudest, her voice practically echoing down the quiet suburban street. I signaled to my best man, Ben, who pulled out a stack of envelopes we'd prepared. I thought the whole point was to barricade the bride's bedroom, not the front door, Ben muttered under his breath as he started handing them out. I shot him a look. Just pay them. Today wasn't the day to get hung up on details. Ben got the message and slid the cash-filled envelopes through a mail slot in the door. The other bridesmaids squealed with delight and immediately stepped aside. Wait a second. Is this only $200? Tiffany, however, hadn't moved. She'd opened her envelope and was staring at the contents with a look of disgust. Come on, Tiffany, it's just for fun. $200 is a great bonus, one of the other girls said, already tucking the money into her clutch. In our circle, this little door game was just a tradition. $100 was generous. I doubled it to be safe. It's not the same, Tiffany scoffed. When I got married, my husband gave every single one of my girls $1,000. And I'm the maid of honor stand-in, she said, conveniently ignoring Lauren, the actual maid of honor. I deserve special treatment. Alex, you figured out. She disdainfully pushed the envelope back through the mail slot. My jaw tightened. I turned to Ben. You got any more cash on you? Ben looked annoyed, but he reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick roll of bills. I peeled off 6 $100 bills, stuffed them into the envelope, and pushed it back through. There. Now open the door. Tiffany took her time opening it and counting the money. $800? Fine, she said with an exaggerated sigh. I guess that's good enough to pass the first test. The door finally swung open, and Ben and I breathed a sigh of relief. The groomsmen and I flooded into the house, carrying flowers and gifts. The living room was packed with Jessica's extended family, a sea of aunts and uncles I barely recognized. Mr. and Mrs. Miller walked me around the room, making introductions. I shook hands, smiled, and handed out small gifts until my face hurt. Finally, I made it to Jessica's bedroom, only to find the door locked. Ben knocked loudly. Delivery for the beautiful bride. Let's go. Tiffany's voice floated through the door again. This is round 2. You want to see the bride? You know the drill. Show us the money. Ben's patience was wearing thin. We just gave you money. That was for the front door, Tiffany retorted. You ate breakfast this morning, didn't you? Does that mean you're skipping lunch? Ben clenched his jaw, but for my sake, he kept his mouth shut. I started pushing the smaller, pre-made envelopes through the crack under the door. For a moment, all I heard was happy laughter from the bridesmaids. Then, Tiffany spoke up again. Seriously? Another $200? Alex, you're so cheap, you squeak. Are you trying to pay off a beggar? I don't want this. An envelope slid back out. That's enough, you guys. It's supposed to be fun. Lauren's voice came from inside. She was in there with Jessica, helping her get ready. I sighed and pulled out another $500 from Ben's dwindling cash supply, adding it to the envelope. But Tiffany just pushed it back out again. It's not about the money. It's about the sincerity, she announced. And this just feels insincere. I was at my wit's end. I looked desperately at Jessica's parents for help. Her mother just smiled. Oh, Alex, don't listen to them. Just give them a little something. She then stage whispered to me. Just make it an even 1,000. It's fine. She turned and yelled toward the door. Tiffany, sweetie, stop teasing Alex. That's enough now. Then lowered her voice again to me, adding, Tiffany's husband is a big deal on Wall Street. It doesn't hurt to stay on her good side. My stomach churned. An even 1,000? I saw the other guests watching me, their eyes full of expectation. My pride got the better of me. I added 3 more bills and pushed the envelope back under the door. Tiffany finally opened it, but not without a parting shot. Her mom's going easy on her son-in-law. If it were up to me, I'd be asking for 10,000. 10,000? You might as well just rob me, I thought. But the door was open, and I saw her. Jessica, sitting on her bed in her wedding dress, looking like an absolute angel. In that moment, all the frustration melted away. Tiffany handed me a sheet of paper. Your pre-vows. Read them. Loudly. It was the usual stuff. I'll always love you. I'll never make you sad. I'll do all the chores. All my money is your money. Cheesy but harmless. We played a few more silly games while the videographer filmed everything. Finally, I slipped the ring on her finger. It was official. I had my bride. We made our way downstairs and out to the waiting limo. As I went to open her door, Jessica held out her hand. Where's my gift? Part 2. I immediately pulled out the 2 gift boxes I prepared. Inside each was a designer handbag I knew she wanted, worth a few $1,000s each. One for each hand to hold on the way to the church, a local tradition. But the moment she had them, Jessica tore them open right there on the sidewalk. When she saw they were just the handbags, her face fell. That's it? This is it. It's a symbolic gift for good luck, I said through a forced smile. What's so lucky about a couple of purses? She snapped. Lauren quickly stepped in. Jess, it's your wedding day. Don't talk like that. No, Jessica said, shaking her head. This is too cheap. I'm not getting in the car. Ben quickly pulled the videographer aside, offering him a cigarette and quietly telling him to make sure this part didn't make the final cut. The videographer lit up and chuckled. Don't worry, man. This is nothing. I know what to keep and what to cut. A crowd of her family's neighbors was forming. Don't make a scene, I whispered urgently. She glared at me. Who's making a scene? I took a deep breath. Okay, what do you want? When Tiffany got married, Mark gave her a Cartier bracelet that cost 50 grand, she said coldly. I can't have less than her, can I? My eyes shot to Tiffany, who was standing nearby, looking smug. Why would she tell Jessica that right before her own wedding? Every family is different, Lauren argued. Tiffany's husband is a hedge fund manager, and they talked about that gift beforehand. I don't care. Jessica cut her off. I want $50,000. I took another deep breath and walked over to Ben. You gotta be kidding me, Ben said, his jaw tight. Good thing I went to an ATM this morning, or we'd be completely screwed. Where are we supposed to find that kind of cash right now? As he counted out what he had, he asked, Alex, didn't you guys talk about any of this beforehand? I asked her family. I grumbled. They said they didn't have all these crazy traditions. I never thought she'd pull something like this. Ben handed me a thick bundle of cash wrapped in a rubber band. It was everything he had, maybe 10,000. It has to be that friend of hers, Tiffany. She's been whispering in Jessica's ear all day. I didn't say anything. I just walked back to Jessica and handed her the cash. Here, is this better? Can we please get in the car now? Jessica took the money, flipped through it, and scoffed. This isn't even close. This is where we left off. I looked at the crowd, at the waiting limo, at the sister pleading, and at my bride, who was holding our wedding day hostage. The limo driver, a guy I knew, had started the car. It was now or never. What about a check? I said, my voice strained. I can write you a check right now. Jessica's eyes lit up. Fina, 50,000. Not a penny less. I got in the limo, pulled out my checkbook from my suit jacket, and wrote it out, my hand shaking with a mixture of anger and humiliation. I handed it to her. She examined it closely, then finally, with a smug little smile, she got into the limo. I slid in beside her, and Lauren got into the front passenger seat. As the limo pulled away from the curb, a string of firecrackers her father had lit went off behind us. The celebration had begun. On the way to the venue, Jessica must have sensed my anger. What? She said defensively. Are you mad I asked for a little money? I was furious, but I managed a tight smile. No. From the front seat, Lauren turned around. You two are getting married today. You should be smiling. A happy wedding day means a happy life. I looked at Lauren and thought, your sister could learn a thing or two from you. The motorcade pulled into the parking lot of the venue. As soon as we arrived, more firecrackers went off. I got out of the car, and our waiting guests immediately surrounded me, clapping me on the back and offering congratulations. I thanked them with a smile, while my cousin handed out cigars and party favors. When I walked over to open Jessica's door, the scene from the beginning of this story unfolded. I'm not getting out of this car for anything less than $50,000. He stared at her, confused. I just gave you a check for 50,000. She held it up. This isn't cash. Tiffany said cash. Her getting out of the car gift was cash. I want cash. Lauren and I tried to reason with her, but it was no use. Jessica wouldn't move. My mom and the rest of our guests, who had been waiting inside, started to wonder what the holdup was. They came outside to see what was going on. When they heard Jessica's demand, my mom's face fell. With so many people watching, she forced a smile. Let's just go inside. We'll get you the cash later, I promise. Jessica didn't even look at her. A promise isn't a gift. I want it now. I had been holding my anger in check all day, but this was the last straw. Are you going to get out of the car or not? My anger only seemed to fuel hers. No, I'm not. I took a deep breath, my voice dangerously low. Do you even want to get married today? Jessica laughed, a cold, ugly sound. Don't threaten me. Without that money, if someone else wants to marry you, they can have you. Because I won't. Lauren jumped out of the car. Jess, you can't say things like that. Don't you tell me what to do. Jessica sneered. Tiffany was right. Her gift was 50 grand in cash. Lauren's face crumpled in frustration. Why do you keep comparing yourself to her? Why shouldn't I? Am I uglier than her? Am I not as good as her? My mom tried to play mediator. Jessica, honey, we'll get you the money. But where are we supposed to get that much cash on a Saturday afternoon? Jessica ignored her completely. Not my problem. That's your family's problem. The neighbors and guests were starting to whisper amongst themselves. An older woman tried to help, leaning into the car window. Sweetheart, it's your wedding day. You don't want to miss this ceremony. It's bad luck. Yeah, sis, come on, don't do this, Lauren pleaded. Jessica's face turned to stone. Whose sister are you anyway? Why are you always on his side? That was it. I'd had enough. I spoke in a dead, calm voice. I'm asking you one last time. Are you getting out of this car? And I'm telling you for the last time, she sneered, no cash, no bride. Then do you even want this wedding? I repeated, my voice rising. My mom pulled me aside. Don't say things you'll regret. Everyone is watching. But Jessica was unflustered. She sat back against the leather seat. Maybe I don't. Go ahead, call it off. Who are you trying to scare? Driver, let's go. The driver, a friend of my dad's, looked at me mortified. He tried to reason with her. Ma'am, with all due respect, I've driven for hundreds of weddings. I've never heard of a bride demanding 50 grand in cash to get out of the car. Jessica shot him a venomous look. Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. What would a driver know about anything? Just shut up and drive. The driver's face turned red. Excuse me? How dare you speak to me like that? I started to laugh, a bitter, hollow sound. You know what, Jessica? Your family insisted we have the wedding before we signed the marriage license, just to see how much money my family would put up. Fine. The initial agreement was that my family would contribute $100,000 for a down payment on a house. I said yes. Then, you suddenly needed $200,000. My mom and I had to borrow from friends and family to make it happen. And today, your friend has been shaking me down for money like she's never seen a dollar bill in her life. I put up with all of it, and now you pull this. As I spoke, the whispers from the crowd grew louder, their gazes turning from me to Jessica, now filled with judgment. But she was beyond shame. Tiffany's family doesn't need money. Her husband could drop more than you make in a year and not even notice. And it's perfectly normal for the groom's family to contribute to a house. Who gets married without that? If you don't have money, why are you even getting married? You should just stay single forever. Lauren, now frantic, tried to open the door from the outside. Jess, please, just get out. Jessica threw her bouquet, hitting Lauren in the chest. Why are you so invested in this? Whose side are you on? If you want to marry him so badly, you do it. I'm done. This wedding is off. Lauren, stung by her sister's words, snapped. Fine, you said it. I will. Everyone froze. I stare at Lauren, speechless. In one swift motion, Lauren reached into the car, yanked the veil off Jessica's head, and placed it on her own. She then walked over to me and linked her arm through mine. Let's go. Let's get married. Dressed in her simple bridesmaid gown with a flowing white veil, she looked, for a shocking second, exactly like a bride. Don't be ridiculous, I mumbled, pulling my arm away. But Lauren looked me straight in the eye. I'm not being ridiculous. Let's do it. I'm not afraid. I was stunned, unsure if she was serious or just saying it out of anger. I remember the day I was supposed to meet Jessica for our first date. It was Lauren who showed up first to feel me out. If she hadn't approved, Jessica never would have even come to the restaurant. My relationship with Jessica had been practical. My contracting business was just starting to take off, and I was too busy for the drama of dating. She was beautiful, and when we were dating, she was always sweet and agreeable. Plus, my mom, who had me late in life, was getting older. After my dad passed, I could see the loneliness in her eyes. I didn't want to wait any longer. After 6 months, I told Jessica I wanted to get married. She didn't say yes or no, just that she had to ask her parents. So I went with her to meet them. They seemed happy with me, and then we talked about the financial contribution. They wanted $100,000 for a down payment on a house. With a house I inherited from my dad, my own condo, and a small rental property, plus my business savings, I agreed on the spot. In this market, $100,000 was more than reasonable. That night, my mom was so happy she cried. She stood in front of my dad's picture, telling him the good news. But less than a week later, the Millers called me back. They'd reconsidered. Our other daughter's cousin got married last year, and their contribution was over $150,000, Mrs. Miller had explained. With inflation and everything, and since Jessica is getting married later, we think $200,000 is more appropriate. I looked at Jessica, but she just sat there, scrolling through her phone as if she couldn't care less. It was Lauren who spoke up. Mom, Dad, people are all over the internet complaining about the insane cost of weddings these days. Part 4, her mother shot her a glare. What do you know? Those stories are about millions of dollars. This is different. Go to your room. This doesn't concern you. Lauren stuck her tongue out, gave me a sympathetic look, and left. I tried to explain my situation to her parents. Mr. and Mrs. Miller, you know my dad is gone. It's just me and my mom. My business is doing okay, but a lot of my capital is tied up in current projects. I can't pull that much cash out right now. Oh, Alex, don't you worry, Mrs. Miller said sweetly. We're not unreasonable people. We took your situation into account. That's why we're not asking for more. Tiffany's husband gave her family $500,000, you know. We never even brought that up. Her husband nodded. I've looked into it. Your line of work, custom home renovations, it's a good business. With these crazy weather patterns, people are always upgrading. $200,000 is just a couple of big projects for you. I felt trapped. I'll go home and discuss it with my mom, I said, though I'd already decided this was a deal breaker. I was mostly disappointed in Jessica. She hadn't said a single word in my defense. When I told my mom, she sat in silence for a long time, a worried look on her face. Agree to it, she finally said. $200,000 is a lot, but we can scrape it together. Alex, try to see it from their side. It's not easy raising a daughter. Money, we can always make more. What's important is that you two are happy. Don't let this ruin your relationship. I had planned to talk to Jessica to ask her to stand up for me with her parents. If she refused, I was ready to walk away. But after hearing my mom, I couldn't bring myself to add to her worries. So I called Ben and a few other friends, borrowed some money, and along with my own savings, I just barely managed to pull it together. I never imagined that on the wedding day itself, Jessica would pull a stunt like this. Tiffany was now fanning the flames. The Walker family clearly has no respect for you, Jess. Let's just call this wedding off. She grabbed Jessica's arm and started pulling her away toward the street. Jessica hesitated for a second, but when she saw me standing there, making no move to stop her, her face hardened with anger, and she let Tiffany lead her away. As they walked, Tiffany was already on her phone. Mark, can you come pick me and Jess up? Yeah, the wedding's off. I don't have time to explain. Just get here. After hanging up, she said to Jessica, Don't you worry, sweetie. All of Mark's friends are loaded. I'll have him introduce you to someone way better than Alex. My mom tried to run after them, but I held her back. Oh my God, what are we going to do? She cried. This is so humiliating. Her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed. I scooped her up and carried her back into the now empty venue, relatives rushing to help me get her onto a couch in the bridal suite. My aunt said it was probably her low blood sugar acting up and mixed some sugar water for her. Outside the door, relatives and even some of the catering staff were whispering. My head was pounding. A few minutes later, my mom woke up, tears streaming down her face. What now, Alex? What now? Lauren came into the room and knelt by the couch. Mrs. Walker, I am so sorry. My mom just looked at her, sighed, and said, Could you all please leave? I just want to rest. Lauren and I stepped out of the room. I went out onto the balcony for a smoke, my mind racing. Lauren followed me. My phone buzzed. It was Mrs. Miller. The second I answered, she started screaming. Alex Walker, what the hell did you do? How dare you upset my Jessica like this? My mind went cold. What did she tell you? She said you refused to give her the wedding gift and told her the wedding was off. That's a lie. I said flatly. I offered her gifts. She said they were too cheap. Then I gave her a check, and she demanded cash. Mrs. Miller scoffed. $50,000 is too much. Tiffany got a diamond necklace that cost double that. Why should my daughter get less? This isn't about the money. I exploded. It's about the fact that you never said a word about this until today. Part 5. What do you mean we never said anything? Do we have to spell everything out for you? She shrieked. You get over to our house right now and explain yourself. There's nothing to explain. I shot back. Even if I came, I don't have $50,000 in cash to give you. That sent her over the edge. What did you just say? Are you calling this wedding off? If that's what it takes, then yes. I yelled and hung up. Lauren looked at me, her eyes wide. My mom. I just shook my head. A moment later, my phone rang again. Mr. Miller. Listen here, Alex, you've got a lot of nerve, he barked. Are you trying to bully my daughter just because her family is a little more modest than yours? This has nothing to do with that, I said, trying to stay calm. Your daughter is obsessed with comparing herself to her friends. Tiffany gets a $50,000 gift, so she has to have one too. He cut me off. Comparison is how we improve. It shows she has ambition. Maybe she's just trying to motivate you. Don't you dare turn your own shortcomings back on her. I never liked you for her, you know. It was Jessica who insisted you were the one. Is this how you repay us? Is this how your family does things? I was speechless. This family was unbelievable. Whatever you say, sir, I said, too exhausted to argue. And then Jessica herself called. Alex Walker, you are unbelievable. How dare you talk to my parents like that? If you don't come over here right now and apologize, I will never forgive you. This wedding is over. I let out a cold laugh. Fine. Wedding's over. Just give me back the $200,000. She laughed right back. The money is in our account. It's our money now. You want it? Come and try to get it. I felt like my head was going to split open. I had never met a family so utterly shameless. Just as Lauren was about to say something, her phone rang. Her face changed. Shoo, she whispered to me. It's my mom. She answered, putting on speaker, but holding it close. Mom, what's up? I could hear her mother's frantic, angry voice pouring through the phone. Then Lauren spoke, her voice quiet but firm. Do you hear yourselves? You change your minds every 5 minutes. I told you, people don't do things this way anymore. It's tacky and greedy. Did you listen to me? No. And my sister, all she does is listen to that toxic friend of hers, Tiffany. With that, she hung up and looked at me. I sighed. In that entire family, Lauren was the only one with any sense. How could two sisters, raised in the same house, be so different? Thinking about what her parents and Jessica had just said, I walked back into the main hall. I clapped my hands to get everyone's attention. Hey everyone, I'm sorry for this whole mess. It's embarrassing, and I apologize for wasting your valuable time. Today's wedding is canceled. I bowed deeply to the remaining guests. My relatives were all supportive, telling me it wasn't my fault and that they were just glad my mom was okay. Then they started muttering about the Millers, about how classless and shameless they were. Lauren, standing beside me, looked mortified. She stepped forward and also bowed. I'm so sorry, everyone. This is our family's fault. On behalf of my parents and my sister, I apologize. Her gesture silenced the criticism. My aunt sighed and said, We just wish you had been the one he was marrying. Ben patted her on the shoulder. If your sister were half as decent as you, we wouldn't be here. The last of the curious onlookers drifted away. I knew this disaster would be the talk of the town for weeks, but there was nothing I could do about it. At least everyone saw what really happened. The fault wasn't on my family's side. My relatives took turns comforting my mom, and she gradually calmed down enough to get up and see them off. I went downstairs to settle up with the limo driver and the wedding planner, then called Ben to deal with the reception hall. The deposit was gone, and I knew there would be other fees. When the house was finally quiet, it was just me, my mom, and Lauren. She walked over to my mom again. Auntie, I'm so sorry. My mom looked at Lauren and nodded slowly. It's not your fault. You're a good girl. I know that. Lauren looked pained, torn between anger at her sister and loyalty to her family. My mom went back to her room to lie down, but not before telling me to drive Lauren home and not to fight with her family. As I walked Lauren out, I saw the red carpet still laid out on the front steps, the confetti from the firecrackers scattered across the lawn. It was a bitter sight. I ripped the groom's boutonniere from my lapel and threw it in the trash. Lauren walked silently beside me. Once we were in my car, I let out a long, shuddering breath and started the engine. Lauren saw the look on my face. Maybe I should just get an Uber. I shook my head and pulled away from the curb. No, I'll take you, but I'm just dropping you at the entrance to your neighborhood. I'm not going in. Lauren just nodded, sitting in the passenger seat, her eyes fixed on me. When we reached her neighborhood, I pulled over to the side of the road. After she got out, I called after her. Lauren. She turned. Yeah. I managed a small smile. Thank you. She waved a hand dismissively. It was nothing. But I watched her walk away in her bridesmaid dress, a lonely figure on a day that was supposed to be joyous. I lit a cigarette, and just as I finished it, my phone rang. It was Lauren. What's wrong? I asked. Don't say anything, she whispered. Just listen. I want you to hear what's happening in my house. Is that a good idea? I asked, surprised. It's fine, she insisted. I lit another cigarette and waited. A moment later, I heard her whisper, I'm at the front door. I heard the sound of the door opening, and then Jessica's voice, dripping with sarcasm. Well, look who's back. Isn't it the new bride? Lauren's voice was steady. You don't have to be like that, Jess. You're the one who said you'd marry him if I didn't. Why are you back so soon? Jessica shot back. Before Lauren could answer, her mother chimed in. This was between Alex and your sister. What were you thinking getting involved? Her father's voice was even angrier. Yeah, whose side are you on anyway? She started it. Lauren said simply, You're the younger sister. You're supposed to let her have her way, especially on her wedding day, her mother yelled. Jessica snorted. I've said it before. She's always been jealous of me. We're not real sisters, so we'll never be on the same team. My heart skipped a beat. Not real sisters? Mr. Miller changed the subject. What's going on over at their house? What do you think is going on? Lauren said, They sent all the guests home. The wedding is off. What about his mother? Mrs. Miller demanded. She fainted. Mrs. Miller laughed cruelly. Oh, please. Fainting is easy. I'd probably do the same thing in her shoes. She really fainted, Lauren insisted. You ungrateful girl. Whose family are you a part of? Her mother screamed. I told you, Jessica said again. There's no blood between us. She was never one of us. Mr. Miller cut in, his voice cold. I don't care if his mother fainted or died. I want to know one thing. Did they say anything about the 200,000? I felt a surge of pure rage. How could he talk about my mom that way? Lauren's voice was incredulous. Are you serious? The wedding is off. Of course they'll want it back. You have to return it. Why should I? Jessica yelled. Why should I give anything back? He's right, Mrs. Miller added. After the humiliation our Jessica went through today, they should be paying us damages. And they want their money back? In their dreams. Mr. Miller's voice was venomous. Let him come and ask for it himself. I'll give him a slap across the face he'll never forget. That was it. I threw my cigarette out the window and started the car, driving straight into their neighborhood. On the phone, Lauren was still arguing. They gave you that money because they wanted to marry your daughter. Now, the wedding is off, but you still have their money and their daughter is still sitting in your house. How is that fair? What is your problem, Lauren? Jessica screamed, the sound of a hand slamming on a table cracking through the speaker. Whose side are you on? I'm on the side of what's right, Lauren retorted. You ungrateful brat. Mrs. Miller shrieked. Have you forgotten who took you in and raised you? And now you're defending that lowlife instead of your own sister. Lauren's voice was shaking with suppressed emotion. If I remember correctly, you only took me in because my parents left me a house and a savings account when they died. A house you sold. What kind of horrible thing is that to say? Mrs. Miller screamed. Do you think raising you is free? We had to sell the house to afford it. Don't you dare accuse us of taking advantage of you. If it weren't for my dead brother, I never would have taken in a traitor like you. Mr. Miller roared. Now you think you're all grown up? You think you could talk back to us? Jessica's voice dripped with poison. Tiffany was right. You're jealous of me. You envy me. You can't stand to see me happy. Oh my God, just stop with her toxic garbage, Lauren pleaded. Why should I listen to you instead? Jessica shrieked. Tiffany is just my friend, but she treats me better than my own sister ever has. What have you ever done for me? Ever since Mom and Dad adopted you, my life has been one disaster after another, and you still work for Tiffany's husband. How dare you criticize her? Get out. I don't want to see you. Part 7. Lauren turned to her parents, but they just glared at her, their faces contorted with rage. Without another word, she turned and walked out of the house. She ran right into me on the front steps. I grabbed her arms to steady her. Her eyes were red and swimming with tears. Alex, she whispered, her face a mixture of shock and relief. What are you doing here? From inside, Jessica saw me and sneered. What? You're here to beg you to come back. Forget it. I wouldn't marry you if you were the last man on earth. Her father slammed his hand on the table. You've got a lot of nerve showing your face here. Our family has been completely humiliated because of you. This isn't over, her mother added, her voice dripping with venom. You owe us an explanation. An apology isn't going to cut it. Even if Jessica agreed to take you back, we never would. I stepped into the house. You've got it all wrong. I'm here to formally tell you that the wedding is off, and I want my money back. Mr. Miller grabbed a dining chair and hurled it at me. You little bastard. You have the audacity to demand anything. I dodged, and the chair smashed into a glass partition, sending shards flying everywhere. Honey, don't. Mrs. Miller cried, rushing to his side. He's not worth it. Get out of my house, Jessica screamed. I never want to see you again. I laughed coldly. You think I want to be here? I'm just letting you know. I want the money back. All of it. Every last cent. I turned and walked out without a backward glance. I saw Lauren standing on the lawn, frozen. I grabbed her hand and pulled her with me down the driveway. Behind us, I could hear the three of them screaming insults, calling me a bastard and Lauren a traitor. I didn't stop until we were both in my car and speeding out of the neighborhood. In the quiet of the car, Lauren finally broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. After 6 months of dating Jessica, I had no idea Lauren was adopted. I drove until I found a quiet, empty parking lot and stopped the car. I handed her a couple of tissues from a glove box. She wiped her eyes and stared out the window, her breath catching in ragged hitches. We both sat in silence for a long time. So you and Jessica aren't real sisters? I finally asked. She shook her head. No, my birth parents were my uncle's older brother and his wife. So, I guess I'm her cousin. That makes sense, I said. You two look a little alike. I never would have guessed. She shrugged. We do. I don't see it. I took a good look at her. They had a similar facial structure, the kind of resemblance you'd expect from cousins. But Lauren was taller, with a completely different build. She was a different kind of beautiful. The first time I met her, I'd honestly thought she was the one I was there to meet. She'd been so warm and funny, saying all these great things about Jessica to build her up before she arrived. What happened to your parents? I asked gently, remembering bits of the phone conversation. When I was 8, we went on a road trip for summer vacation, she said, her voice flat. There was an accident. They died instantly. My mom, she shielded me with her body. If she hadn't, I would have died too. She lifted the hem of her bridesmaid dress. See, I still have the scar. A pale, several-inch-long scar ran along her shin, faded but still visible. I always knew, she continued, that if my parents hadn't left behind some money and a house, they never would have taken me in. I always knew. I sighed. Jessica always seemed so nice to you. Lauren let out a bitter laugh. That was all for show. In front of other people, they never mentioned I was adopted. But at home, anytime I did something they didn't like, it was always, we should have never taken you in. I've heard it so many times it doesn't even hurt anymore. Part 8, I took a deep breath. In the 6 months I knew Jessica, I had never seen this side of her family. If I had known, no matter how beautiful she was, I never would have gotten involved. So what are you going to do now? I asked. She shrugged. It's fine. I've been saving up money for years. I'll just rent an apartment. I wanted to leave that house for a long time. I was just waiting until after the wedding. I guess today just forced my hand. Even if they hadn't kicked me out, I would have left. I nodded. Good. That's not a healthy place to be. It's better to be out of there. She let out a long sigh. Actually, I should thank you. If it weren't for what happened today, I never would have had the courage to confront them. Hearing them say all those things out loud, it just confirmed that I made the right decision. I should be thanking you, I countered. I know you always had my back when I was dating Jessica, and you were the only one who defended me when her parents were making those demands. Lauren just smiled. I have a condo that's sitting empty, I said. You can stay there until you find a place. Oh, I couldn't, she said immediately. It's no big deal. It's just sitting there. Please use it. She hesitated, then nodded. Okay, but just until I find my own place. I nodded, and we drove to a Target so she could buy a change of clothes and some toiletries. At the checkout, the cashier saw me in my suit and her in a bridesmaid dress and smiled. You two make a lovely couple. Oh, we're not. She's my friend, I stammered. Lauren just smiled politely. I took her to the condo, showed her around, and gave her the keys. When I got home, my mom was still awake. We talked for a long time. She was upset, but mostly she was embarrassed. I don't know how I'll ever face the neighbors, she said. It's not our fault, Mom. We have nothing to be ashamed of. She knew I was right. She sighed and asked me to go with her to my dad's picture on the mantel. Please watch over our Alex, she whispered. Help him find a good wife. I chuckled. Yeah, Dad, your last pick was a real winner. Don't you blame your father for your own bad judgment, my mom muttered, but she was smiling a little. I promised her I'd find someone better next time. That night, I lay in bed, thinking about how to get my money back. There was no reasoning with the Millers. Going over there would just lead to another fight. Everyone in the neighborhood already knew the story. I had nothing left to lose. I called Ben and asked him for the name of a good lawyer. I was going to sue them. The next few weeks were a blur of work. Winter was approaching, the busiest season for my home renovation business. A major cold snap was predicted, and everyone wanted new insulation and heating systems installed. The work was a welcome distraction. Then, one day, I got a call from Jessica. Alex Walker, what the hell is wrong with you? She screamed into the phone. You're suing my family? You didn't return the money, I said calmly. I have a right to protect myself legally. In your dreams, she shrieked. After the humiliation you put my family through, we should be suing you. I wasted 6 months of my life with you. And what about all the money we spent on wedding preparations? I lit a cigarette. Tell it to my lawyer. I hung up. A few days later, I was out treating my crew to pizza and beer after a long week when my mom called, her voice trembling. Jessica's parents were at our front door, screaming and cursing. I told my guys to enjoy their dinner and drove home. As I pulled up, a neighbor stopped me. Your ex's parents are completely unhinged, he said. They were screaming in the street. Then they went up and started banging on your door. The things they were saying. Horrible. Part 9, I could hear Mrs. Miller's shrill voice from the bottom of the stairs. I calmly called 911, then went up. I didn't say a word. I grabbed each of them by the arm and dragged them down the stairs. Mrs. Miller tried to scratch my face, but I blocked her. Mr. Miller swung at me, but I twisted his arm behind his back. I shoved them onto the lawn. If you have a problem, you deal with me. Don't you dare harass my mother. Mrs. Miller immediately threw herself on the ground. He's attacking us. Help! Someone call the police. The neighbors who had gathered just laughed. One of them, the man who had warned me, stepped forward. You people have some nerve, demanding 50 grand to get out of car. What kind of parenting is that? Enraged, Mr. Miller lunged at him and punched him square in the face. Mind your own damn business. The man fell to the ground, clutching his nose. The other neighbors immediately surrounded Mr. Miller. You think you can come into our neighborhood and assault people? Mr. Miller, suddenly realizing he was outnumbered, tried to run. His wife scrambled up to follow him, yelling over her shoulder, "You just wait." But a police car was already pulling up to the curb, blocking their escape. The scene descended into chaos. The neighbors all started talking at once. Mrs. Miller grabbed a police officer's arm and started a theatrical, sobbing performance. "Officer, you have to help me. Is it a crime to want the best for your daughter?" The more she talked, the more the officer's expression soured. "Ma'am, are you saying you demanded $50,000 cash for your daughter to get out of a wedding limo? You know we don't encourage that kind of thing. It's a local custom." Mr. Miller blustered. "My daughter is worth it." Just then, the injured neighbor pointed at him. "He hit me." The police saw the blood pouring from the man's nose and immediately put Mr. Miller in the back of the squad car. I went down to the station with a few of the neighbors to give a statement. The lawsuit for the money was a civil matter, but assault was a criminal one. Mr. Miller's arrogance didn't do him any favors at the station. He was held for a week and had to pay over $15,000 in medical bills and damages. Jessica called me again, screaming and cursing. This time, I didn't hang up. I just put the phone on speaker and hit the record button. A few days later, I walked into my office to find Lauren sitting there. "Lauren, what are you doing here?" I asked, a sudden fear that she was here about her parents. She just shrugged. "I'm unemployed. I saw the help wanted sign in your window." "What happened?" "I worked for Tiffany's husband. Remember? My sister had Tiffany get me fired." I shook my head in disbelief. Even if she didn't consider Lauren a real sister, she was still her cousin. But my business was booming, and I desperately needed an office manager. "This isn't a big corporation," I warned her, "and you'd have to come out to job sites with me sometimes." "I don't care," she said, "as long as I get paycheck." I smiled. "You're hired." "Thanks, boss," she grinned. The court date arrived. The Millers were there, all three of them, and started insulting me the second I walked in. I ignored them and focused on my lawyer. The judge quickly warned them to be quiet. The case was straightforward. The money was given in contemplation of a marriage that didn't happen. Lauren was called as a witness. When she took the stand and told the truth, her family's insults became even more vile. Lauren just looked at them and said, "I'm just stating the facts." I presented the recording of Jessica's threatening phone call and the police report from when her parents harassed my mother. The judge ruled in my favor, ordering them to return the money immediately. As we walked out of the courthouse, Jessica marched up to Lauren and slapped her hard across the face. "You bitch. Are you sleeping with him? Is that why you're always defending him?" Her mother grabbed Lauren's hair and started hitting her. But it was her father who did the real damage. He ran up and kicked Lauren square in the stomach. She crumpled to the ground, unable to get up. I was thanking my lawyer and didn't see it happen at first. But when I did, I ran over, scooped Lauren into my arms, and rushed her to my car, yelling for Ben and my friends to grab her father. They tackled him and held him for the police. Given his recent assault charge, attacking someone on the courthouse steps was a spectacularly stupid move. Part 10 at the hospital, the doctors ran a series of tests. The kick had caused a ruptured bladder. It was serious, but thankfully, they said she would make a full recovery. Over the next week, I spent most of my free time in the hospital, bringing Lauren food and keeping her company. The police came to take her official statement. "If I don't press charges, will he go to jail?" she asked the officer. "Ma'am, this has progressed beyond a simple assault," the officer explained. "With an injury this severe, it's a felony. Even if you don't press charges, the state will. Your testimony could potentially reduce his sentence, but it won't make it go away." After the officer left, I asked her, "He kicked you like he didn't even know you. Why are you still protecting him?" She took a deep breath. "Let's just call it the final payment for raising me." In the end, thanks to Lauren's request for leniency, her father was sentenced to only 8 months in prison. He showed no gratitude. As he was led away, he pointed at Lauren and screamed, "Traitor!" Her mother tried to lunge at Lauren again, but I stepped in her way. "Do you want to join him?" I asked quietly. She backed down. Jessica pointed a shaking finger at both of us. "I knew it. You two were having an affair all along. You'll get what's coming to you. You'll both burn in hell." I looked her dead in the eye. "Maybe, but it looks like your family is getting what's coming to them right now. By the way, where's your good friend Tiffany? With all this drama, you'd think she'd be here to support you." Jessica's face paled. I'd heard from a client who knew Tiffany that her husband's hedge fund was in trouble. He was taking his stress out on her, and she couldn't leave because her entire family was financially dependent on him. Jessica just started screaming incoherently. I ignored her, gently helping Lauren to her feet and leading her away. I was worried about Lauren staying alone in the condo while she recovered. I talked to my mom, and we agreed she should come stay with us. Of all the Millers, my mom said, Lauren is the only one who's a decent human being. Lauren was hesitant. "I don't want to be a burden." "You're not a burden," I said. "Just focus on getting better." As we drove back to my house, she asked me, "Why are you being so nice to me?" I was caught off guard and didn't know what to say. She looked at me, her gaze intense. If I had really offered to take my sister's place that day, would you have married me? I still couldn't find the words. I lit a cigarette. She plucked it from my fingers and tossed it out the window. "I asked you a question." I shook my head. "I don't know how to answer that." "Just say what you're thinking. It's not that hard." I tried to change the subject. "You know, when I went to meet your sister for our first date, the moment I saw you, I thought you were her." A small smile played on her lips. I know. You know, your eyes practically popped out of your head when you saw me, she said, laughing. I'm not stupid. I felt my face flush. Well, seeing a beautiful woman on a blind date. She leaned in, pretending she didn't hear. What was that? A beautiful what? I took out another cigarette, but she snatched the pack away. Answer the question. Stop trying to dodge it. I sighed, defeated but smiling. A beautiful woman. She laughed, handing the pack back. I know. I lit a cigarette. You know that too? She turned to me, her expression soft. Tell me, if I had been the one you were set up with from the beginning, what do you think would have happened? I shook my head. I don't know. With your parents, the result probably would have been the same. Excuse me, she said, playfully offended. I'm not Jessica. She listens to everything her parents and her friends say. I have a mind of my own. Thank you very much. I smiled. I know. She held out her hand. Hi. I looked at her, confused. What? Hi. She repeated, her hand still extended. My name is Lauren Miller. I believe we were set up on a date. I stared at her for a long moment. Don't be silly. Who's being silly? She insisted. I'm introducing myself. Don't you have any manners? She wiggled her fingers. Hello. My name is Lauren. I'm 25. A friend set us up. What's your name? I looked at her outstretched hand, and finally, a real, genuine smile spread across my face. I took her hand in mine. My name is Alex Walker. I'm 27. It's a pleasure to meet you. Our hands clasped together, and we both burst out laughing. Epilogue. Living under the same roof, Lauren and I fell into a comfortable, easy rhythm. It didn't take long for us to fall in love. My mom was a little hesitant at first. He didn't marry the older sister, so he married the younger one. What will the neighbors say? Lauren just smiled and told her, Auntie, it's the 21st century. Besides, I have no relationship with that family anymore. My last name is Miller, but it's my birth father's name. My mom adored Lauren, and soon, any awkwardness faded away. Strangely enough, as soon as Lauren and I got together, my business took off like a rocket. She was my good luck charm and my best partner, her charm and intelligence winning over client after client. We decided to get married the following year. Jessica heard about it somehow and tried to cause a scene in my office, but a simple threat to call the police sent her running. I wasn't worried. My employees knew the whole story, and they all loved Lauren like a sister. Later, I heard through the grapevine that Mr. Miller got into another fight in prison and had his sentence extended. Jessica, desperate, tried to ask Tiffany and her husband for help. After a drunken dinner, she ended up in bed with Tiffany's husband and got caught. The two women had a vicious fight, and Jessica ended up with scratches all over her face. She tried to use the affair to leverage a position as his new wife, but he was just playing with her. He had no intention of divorcing Tiffany and splitting her family's assets. After that, I never heard another word about Jessica Miller. On the day of our wedding, as we walked out of the courthouse with our marriage license, Lauren suddenly felt nauseous. A trip to the doctor confirmed it. She was pregnant, with twins, a boy and a girl, a fresh start, and a complete family all at once. The end.